Welcome to the history content, where the shadows of the past reveal the truths of our present. Today, we confront one of the most controversial and misunderstood chapters in world history, the Crusades and Jihad. For over 1,000 years, these two words have echoed through battlefields, pulpits, and political speeches. But what if everything you think you know is only half the truth? Stay with us as we uncover the real story. And now back to the video. To understand the Crusades and Jihad, we must begin with the collapse of the Roman Empire. By the 7th century, Christianity had become the dominant religion of the West. Meanwhile, in the Arabian Peninsula, a new force was rising: Islam. Under the Prophet Muhammad and his successors, Islam expanded rapidly, uniting tribes, building empires, and spreading both faith and governance across the Middle East, North Africa, and into parts of Europe. This expansion wasn't simply about religion. It was also about security, survival, and sovereignty. At the same time, Christian Europe was fragmented, weak, and often at war with itself. But when Muslim forces took control of Jerusalem, a city sacred to Christians, alarm bells began to ring in the West. In 1095, Pope Urban II launched the First Crusade. He painted a picture of Christian pilgrims being attacked, of holy sites desecrated, and a sacred duty to reclaim the Holy Land. But behind the religious fervor was also a web of political ambition. European nobles saw opportunity: land, wealth, glory. The Pope saw a chance to unite a fractured Europe under the Church's banner. The people, many believed they were fighting for heaven itself. Tens of thousands marched to the east. What followed was a brutal war: sieges, massacres, betrayals. In 1099, the Crusaders captured Jerusalem in a bloodbath. Muslim and Jewish residents were slaughtered. To the Christians, it was divine victory. To the Muslims, it was invasion and genocide. For decades, the Muslim world was politically divided. But the brutality of the Crusaders sparked a reaction. Enter Ahmed ad-Din Zengi, Nur ad-Din, and finally, Salahuddin Ayyubi, known in the West as Salah. These leaders united Muslim forces and revived the concept of jihad, not just as spiritual struggle, but as armed resistance against foreign invaders. In 1187, Saladin famously recaptured Jerusalem, not through massacre, but mercy. He allowed Christians to leave peacefully, in sharp contrast to the Crusader conquest. To Muslims, he became a hero of justice. To Europeans, he was both enemy and icon feared, but also admired. While religion lit the fire, it wasn't the only fuel. The Crusades weren't just about faith. They were about trade routes, control of resources, and power struggles between empires. The Italian city-states, Venice, Genoa, Pisa, profited immensely by transporting crusaders and supplying armies. In 1204, during the Fourth Crusade, Christian crusaders sacked Constantinople, a Christian city, looting its churches and destroying its legacy. It wasn't about Islam, it was about greed. On the Muslim side, jihad was used by rulers not just to defend religion, but to unite fractured regions and legitimize power. So ask yourself, were these wars truly about God or gold? Centuries later, the Crusades and Jihad still cast long shadows. During colonialism, European powers often used Crusader language to justify their invasions of the Muslim world. In modern times, extremist groups have hijacked the term jihad to promote violence, ignoring its deeper spiritual and ethical meanings in Islam. At the same time, some Western leaders have evoked the Crusades in political speeches, igniting anger across the Muslim world. These words, crusade and jihad, have become weapons of propaganda, stripped from their original contexts, used to fuel modern conflicts and justify terror. But history tells a more complicated story. Across 2 centuries of crusades, millions died: Christians, Muslims, and Jews. Entire cities were wiped out, cultures destroyed, families shattered, but there were also moments of peace. Treaties signed, prisoners freed, letters exchanged between enemies who respected one another as fellow humans. In the end, both the Crusades and the Jihads were not wars between religions. They were wars between empires, leaders, and ideologies, wrapped in the language of faith. So, what's the real story behind the Crusades and Jihad? It's a story of power, politics, passion, and propaganda. A reminder that history is rarely black and white. And before we judge the past, we must first seek to understand it in all its complexity. If you found this video insightful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with others who seek the truth behind history's greatest myths. This is the history content, bringing the past into focus.